Hello, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching this video. Earlier this morning, I wanted to do a puzzle, and I raced to do one before a veterinarian's appointment. I had so much fun that now that I've gotten back, I thought I'd do another. I pulled another Sudoku from one of my favorite sites, Cracking the Cryptic, or at least they were the person that directed me there. Haven't done this one before. It's called Incomplete Squares, it looks like. And I'm going to try to speedrun it, but I don't know. I don't really know what that means. It might be harder than I'm thinking. It looks like there's about there's almost 12,000 people have solved this. It's kind of an old puzzle. It's 100 days old, but if 12,000 people solve it, it's usually not that hard. So maybe we can try to make this a 30-minute video or something like that. Anyway, the rules are. What are the rules? Incomplete squares. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits an equal distance from the center of a lavender zipper line must sum to the digits in the middle of that line. Do a little bit of thinking. I'm kind of cheating. I can see the lines in the background, so maybe I should start the timer here. But all right, we're a couple seconds in. And let's think about the rules for a second. So what this means is this is the center point of the line. This is actually a line of length 7, so these all have to be unique numbers because they're on the same square. But this is the center. This is the number that we care about, and what we're going to find is that these two numbers need to sum to that number. So how do we go about doing it? Well, I feel like this number needs to be pretty high up there. Maybe I think this number has to be pretty high up there. Let me shut the door here. Hopefully it doesn't darken up in here too badly. Ooh, we're already a minute in. Minute of wasting time. But I don't think this could be like a 5. If this was a 5, there wouldn't be enough combinations to sum up to it. The 5 can only be summed and created in 2 different sums of unique numbers. And a 6 can only be done in. So if this was a 6, I could do 4 and 2, and I could do 1 and 5, but I couldn't do anything with these two. It's not like I could do 3 and 3 because then I'd have a conflict. So I think what this means is that when we see this pattern, and this sort of C-shaped pattern appears a couple places, then this needs to be a 7, 8, or a 9, right? This needs to be a 7, 8, or 9. Because a 6, it's too low. And actually, I can do that down here, too. So this needs to be a 7, 8, or 9. I don't know about this one. It's tempting, but it spreads across 2 boxes. So I think that that's going to cause some funny business. But this has to be a 7, 8, or 9. And you also have to be a 7, 8, or 9. Okay. 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 Well, all of the numbers in this box, it actually goes down here too. Oh, okay. Down here is much better. There needs to be a 9 in this box someplace. But these two, you can't have a 9 on a lavender line that's not the midpoint, because if this was a 9, then what would this be? It would need to be like a 10 or something. It would need to sum with a number to a higher number. So that means that the 9 that appears in this box actually needs to be here. Bingo. And now this, none of these can be a 9, so this can't be a 9. In this column, the 9 is going to need to either appear here or here. Cool. Cool. All right, we got a number. We got one at the 3-minute mark. Only 80 left to go. Hopefully this isn't a, what would that be, a 4-hour video? Okay. 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 Can I do that again, by the way? So like, what about here? This is a box where all of the numbers sum, or all of, okay, so So none of these ones here can be a 9. Excuse me. None of these can be a 9, which means that the 9 in this box needs to either go here or here. Needs to go there or there. This is a good puzzle. Incomplete squares. I don't know why it's called incomplete squares, but it's a good puzzle because it doesn't have any starting numbers. The rules are very simple, and they give you these lavender lines, but there's not that many of them, which means it really requires very little information to fill in this whole grid. And it really requires very little information to fill in this whole grid, and that is the sign of a good puzzle. But what it also means is that we should, I assume, be able to somehow unlock the puzzle very easily. We have 1 9. Maybe that means that we start with the high numbers. Or something. In this box, okay. In this box, there needs to be a 9 someplace. But it can't be on any of these 3 because of the fact that they need to be less than this square, which is at most 9, and then it can't go in these 2 either, which means the 9 needs to go somewhere there. Actually, it needs to go in one of these 2. If it needs to go in one of those 2, then this can't be a 9. You cannot be a 9 any longer, and that means that you are where my 9 is, and now you can't be a 9 any longer. Okay, so these 2 numbers need to sum to 9, and whichever one isn't used, so if this is a, well, I want to start from the high numbers and work down. I feel like that's how we're going to have to do this. There needs to be a 9 in this box someplace, but it can't go in this row and it can't go in this row. So a 9 needs to go in one of these 3, but actually it needs to just go in one of these 2. One of those 2 is definitely a 9. And I wanted to ooh, that one, it's tempting. Yeah, okay. There needs to be a 9 in this column. There needs to be a 9 in this column someplace. It can't go here, 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 here. Must go here. You must be a 9, and now so must you. Big progress on the 9s so far. Now a 9 must go in one of your 2 squares someplace. Okay. Feel like this box has just nothing in it. I wonder if we're going to be able to fill that in soon, or if that's going to happen like at the very, very end. Okay. Okay. We have some insight on where the 9s go. So, something I should have thought of or spoken of is what happens when there's an even number. If this was an 8, for example, then the 4s couldn't go here, because putting one 4 in would need another 4. So I think regardless of how this shakes out, this needs to be like, it is possible to have a 4 though. Somebody's playing music outside. I wonder if you guys can hear that. Whoever I'm speaking to. I'm sort of just speaking to myself. I started, you know, when I do puzzles, I speak out loud to myself. I thought it might be a fun thing to record them. But let's see. What next? So if this was a 7, then the 8 would have to go here, because this 8 could not go on these ones. If this was an 8, then anything could happen. We started with 9s, they're the high number. But I want to see if we can reduce this to, let's see if we can do this. I'm also obligated to keep speaking, just for entertainment value. Let's see. So these ones, they could be a 9. If this was an 8 on this, in this square, then a 4 would need to appear here. And if it was a 7 on this square, then an 8 would need to appear here. So I think those are the only combinations of digits that those accommodate. But I don't really know if that helps us a lot. I could maybe try to do the same thing. If this was a 7, then this would need to be an 8. If this was an 8, then this would need to be a 4. Which means this can be a 1 or it can be a 5. Those are the only options. I haven't tried starting from the low numbers.
While I'm cooking. He's gonna get on the hot stove.
All right. Looks like I need to watch the cat for a moment, but I can watch the cat and do a puzzle at the same time. Let's see, I can... So how do these two relate to these two? Or maybe that's not the place to start. Okay, so what definitely needs to be on these? A 1 definitely needs to be on there someplace. A 2 definitely needs to, basically everything but a 4 and an 8 need to be on there. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, can an 8 go on either of these? And the answer is no, because if an 8 goes here, then it needs to be a higher number here. It would need to be a 9. So an 8 needs to go, so there needs to be an 8 and a 1 on this someplace. 8 and a 1, although now I'm just sort of like, I'm sort of clogging everything up. An 8 can't go. Okay, we're 12 minutes in. We've got some numbers. Let's look down here for a moment. Can an 8 go on any of these? No. If an 8 goes on either of these two, then this would need to be a 9. If an 8 goes on any of these 3, then this would need to be a 9, which means the 8 definitely goes here. There must be in this an 8 someplace in this column. If there's an 8 in this column, then this needs to be a 7. And that means that if this is a 7, this needs to be my 8, and this needs to be my 1. All right, so we've broken into the lower numbers. Wow. Wow. Okay, you can no longer be an 8. You. Which means you need to be a 4 or a 9. Okay, that was helpful. Can you be a 7 now? You can't be a 7. Neither of you two can be a 7, because if you were a 7, then you would need to be an 8 or a 9, which you cannot be. So now on this, there needs to be a 7 and a 2. Back. There needs to be a 7 and a 2 someplace on this. I'm really clogging that up. Wow. That's going to get gross really fast. It's already pretty gross. 7, 8, and 9 can't go in this column. This means that the maximum that this could be is 6. Actually, there's probably very few numbers that it could be. So it could be a 6. Can it be a Can't be a 2. Can be a 3. If this was a 3, then this would be 2 and 1, 1 and 2. Oh, but I can't use 1 and 2 down here. Okay. So you can be a 6. I'm not allowed to use a 1 or a 2 on either of these, which I think is going to really limit what this can be. So it can't be a 3. Can you be a 4? If you were a 4, then I can only use 1 and 3 and 3 and 1. But I can't do that. So you can't be a 4. Ooh, I deleted it. Can you be a 5? If you were a 5, then I could do, I can't do 1, I could do 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, and 2. Ooh, we're close. We're so close with this one. But what this means for these is that you need to be a 5 or a 6. That means that the only possibilities for these are the numbers less. I can't use a 3. I can use a 3. Depends on what I mean when I say I can't use a 3. This column needs a 7 on it someplace. Seven can't go here and here. Could go here. Can't go here. Actually, this box needs a 7 on it someplace. Okay, so now I feel like we should be looking at this area, this little area in 7s. 7s can't go here and here. I mean, I don't know what this pattern that I'm drawing signifies, but we're trying to speed run this. We're 15 minutes in, and we have, what, 7 numbers? Ugh. Now we're down to 1 number every 2 minutes. It's going to take hours and hours and hours and hours. And hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. 5 and 6. You must be less than 5 and 6. I want to fill in things of value, but I don't think I can at the moment. Okay, so let's do some thinking. So you guys can't be a 1. Where can the 1 go? The 1 can only go here and here. Okay, let's actually think about this because I think it whittles down relatively nicely. So the numbers that need to go on this line are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, but you can't be a 1. And if you can't be a 1, then you can't be a 6. You can't be a 1, so now you can't be a 6. So there is not a 6 here. There's not a 6 here, and there's not a 1 here. So I guess just taking what we did and reducing it, the 6 must go here or here. Yeah, let's cut that down. Excuse me. Let's cut this down. So where does the 1 need to go? The 1 needs to go here or here. Where does the 6 need to go? Also here and here. No. Hold on. Keep muddying this up. You can't be a 1, which means you can't be a 6. Huh. Much harder. Much. Kind of a mental lift. And I was thinking about cutting it down, but I think I'm going to have to leave it. I think I'm going to have to leave it like that. I feel like I'm close. Feel like I'm close to unlocking the puzzle a little bit. What can you be? Maybe I can't start there either. So far, all of the corners are odd numbers. I think I talked earlier about the fact of what would happen if the corners were an even number. very interested in this idea that this could be an 8, and then things would fall into place for us. But actually, things would fall into place better if it was a 7. Things would fall into place better if it was a 7. Can I come up with the last two numbers here? Can I come up with what these two would need to be? If this was a 5, how would this work if this was a 5? I don't like guessing, but just to give myself a little bit of visuals, if this was a 5, then I would need a 1, 4, 2, and a 3. But the 1s can't go here, right? And the 2s can't go here. 1 and a 4, and 2 and a 3. Which means this would need to be a 3 and a 4, and this would need to be a 1 and a 2. Then this would need to be the 1. And this would need to be 4, and this would need to be a 3, and this would need to be a 2. And I think that all works out, which means I think we can't rule anything out just yet. I want to find some sort of contradiction, some sort of logical thing that we could do. I know it definitely goes on these lines. I don't know anything about this whole area. And to be honest, I don't know that much about this down here either. This is interesting because it's bounded from above. Okay, well that's it. Okay. These two can't be 6s, which means the other ones on this line must be a 6 and a 3. The other ones on this line must be a 6 and a 3. And if 1, 2, 3, this would need to be a 4 and a 5. This absolutely needs to be a 4 and a 5. And for all of my like muddy drawing, these two were locked together. So we actually learned something about those two squares, even if we didn't learn that much about the other two squares. If this needs to be a 4 and a 5, then this needs to be greater than 5, which means this needs to be a 6. This now needs to be a 1 and a 2, but the 1 can't go here, which means you need to be a 1, you need to be a 2, you need to be a 4. 4 is what you need to be, and you need to be a 5. Okay, so now let's think about some things. So you can't be a 1. And if you can't be a 1, then you can't be an 8. You actually can't be a 2, so you're not a 2. But if you're not a 2, then you can't be a 7. If you're not a 1, then you're not an 8. And if you're not a 2, then you're not a 7. So what have we learned? The 7s are definitely in this region. The 1s are definitely like this. This makes sense. We can remove the colors here just to give ourselves a little bit of an ability to think. Oh, and I should do the same thing up here too. So you can't be a 1. This means you can't be a 6. You can't be a 2. Ooh, what did I hit? You can't be a 2, which means you can't be a 5. You can't be a 1, which means you can't be a 6. You couldn't be a 6 anyway. What? Hold on, go back in time for a moment. Why aren't you allowed to be a 1? Yeah, okay. You're not allowed to be a 1, which means you're not allowed to be a 6. You're not allowed to be a 2, which means you're not allowed to be a 5. Okay. What's the highest numbers up here? 6. The 6 needs to go here, here. And the 1 needs to go here, here. We've learned that. We've learned that. That's good. There's a kitten who's just clawing to get out of the room, but he's not allowed to leave for the moment. And we're 22 minutes in, and we're doing a little bit better. Noticing some interesting symmetry, right? So the number of possibilities for the equidistant lavender pieces are the same. So if there's 4 possibilities in this cell, there needs to be 4 possibilities in this cell. And if there's 5 in this cell, there needs to be 5 in this cell. So 3 and 3. Okay. 6 can't go here. It also can't go here. It means the 6 needs to go here, 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 here. I feel like we're close. I just feel like we're not. We don't have it yet. We haven't figured out the major insight that opens this up. But we did complete this whole lavender line. That's good. We've used, you know, we got very little information at the start of the puzzle, just the lavender lines. We didn't get any starting numbers, but we've used a full lavender line, which means that we're getting closer. Where can the 7 go? 7 can't go here. The 7, which means that the 7 needs to go on this line. And if the 7 needs to go on this line, then you must either be an 8 or a 9, but you can't be a 9, which means you need to be an 8, which means you need to be a 7. And if you're a 7, then everything on this needs to be less than 7. So 7 can only be made using 6, 1, 5, 2, 4, and 3, which means the 4 can't go up here. So you need to be a 9. You, what did we say would need to happen to you if you were a 9? I don't know yet. Oh, yes, I do. You need to be an 8. Okay. Okay. Even more has been done. Okay, so you can't be an 8 anymore. These two squares are locked together. Showing us what one of those is tells us what the other one is. You can't be an 8 anymore. And if you can't be an 8, then you can't be a 1. We need to put a 1 in this column someplace. 2, 3, 6, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 6. The 7 needs to go on this line. So there must be a 7 here. But the 7 actually can't go here, because then this would need to be a 1. So the 7 can't go here. In fact, the 7 can't go here either. So one of you two is definitely a 7. Because if this was a 7, this would need to be a 1. If this was a 1, this would need to be a 7. So the 7 definitely goes here, which means you can't be a 7. And if you're not a 7, then you're not a 2. Okay, so now things are looking interesting. You need to be a 3, 6, 7, or 8. You need to be a 3, 6, 7, or 8. You need to be a 1, 2, 3, or 6. You need to be a 1, 2, 3, or 6. Made some progress. Okay, so if one of you two needs to be a 7, then one of you two needs to be a 1, but it can't be you. So you need to be a 1. And if you need to be a 1, then you need to be a 7. Great. Great. And now you can't be a 1, which means you can't be an 8. So where does the 8 go? Where does the 8 go? The 8 needs to go here or here. Or is there another number that only can go there or there? No, it looks like some of the other ones spill out. But the 8 definitely goes in one of these two squares. It's very tempting to see if we can get this to not be a 7. I wasn't expecting this to be as helpful as it was. What am I missing in this? I'm missing. So I know where the 8 and the 9 go. I know where the 7 goes. I need to figure out where the 6 goes. I need to figure out where the 4 goes. That is interesting because the 4 can't go here or here. Because one would, because of this even rule. If this is an 8, then these two can't be 4s, right? And the 4s also can't go here, which means one of you two needs to be a 4. And that is very enticing information. It's very enticing information. It means that one of you needs to be a 4. It is possible to have this and this be a 4 at the same time, but not this and this. But one of you two need to be a 4. How about 3s? Uh-oh, getting a call. Let's decline the call just for 1 second. Oh, there you are. Hey, buddy. This is my kitty. My kitty likes playing. My kitty likes puzzles. Although I'm still working on teaching him the rules. Yep. All right. How about a 5. 8 and 9 for Kitty. We're doing a puzzle. We're 30 minutes into the puzzle, Kitty. We're trying to do this real fast, and it's slower than usual. A lot of people have solved this puzzle. How about a 1? How about a 1 in this area? So the 1s can't go here, and they can't go here. If this was a 1 here, this would need to be an 8. If this was a 1, this would need to be an 8, which means you two also can't be 1s, which means one of you two is definitely a 1. All right, Kitty. It's really time to get down now because I think I just unlocked some more numbers. So none of you can be a 1, just at face value, right? Because of the 1 in the column. You can't be a 1. If you here were a 1, this would need to be an 8, so you can't be a 1. If you here were a 1, then this would be an 8, so you can't be a 1. If you were a 1, then this would need to be an 8, which is possible. But I think what that tells us is that the 1 needs to go here or here. It's difficult because you need to get new information, but then you need to use that information entirely to its fullest. Otherwise, you're going to forget about it or do something else. I've made tons of mistakes this way. Let's see. So if you were a 1, you would have to be an 8. So that's interesting. So where is it possible for an 8 to go in this square? It's not possible. It's not possible on the line. I don't think, really. I mean, it's possible for the 8 to go here. I think the only two options for the 8 are here and here. I think the 8 must go one of those two. Yes, which we could have surmised relatively quickly. Right. 1s can't. You can't be an 8. But why can't you be an 8? You can't be an 8 because then you would need to be a 1. Didn't think about it, but we actually have a lot of we've some 1s hanging around. So one of you guys needs to be a 1. Made a lot of progress, but we're just not there yet. Just not there yet. This area absolutely needs a 6. But it can't go here, here, or here. It also, by the way, can't go on any of these. If this was a 6, this would need to be a 3. Excuse me, a 2. Okay. This area needs a 6. But this can't be a 6 because this would need to be a 2. This can't be a 6 because this would need to be a 2, which means you are our missing 6, which means you are our missing 4. You now need to be a 2. All right, so now you can't be a 2. And if you can't be a 2, then you can't be a 7. So we know where the 6 and the 3 go. Definitely the 6 and the 3 go there. Now none of these can be 6s or 3s, basically is the gist of it. So you can't be a 6, you can't be a 3. Ooh, you're going to be a 1 or a 2. You can't be a 6. You also can't be a 3. You can't be a 3 or a 6. And you can't be a 3 or a 6. Okay. So now we have a couple of locked cells. You must be a 1 and a 2. Okay, so now what goes in the remaining cells? So we got 1, 2, we're missing 3, and we're missing 5. You guys are locked together. Down here. I wish there was more we could do. But hey, so now you guys need to be a 3 and a 5. 3 and a 5. But you can't be a 5, so you need to be a 3. You now need to be a 5. By the way, we can start narrowing stuff down up here. So you're not allowed to be a 5. This means that you're not allowed to be a 2. You're not allowed to be a 3, which means you're not allowed to be a 4. You're not allowed to be a 6. Which means you're not allowed to be a 1. You're actually not allowed to be a 4, which means you're not allowed to be a 3. You can't be a 3, which means you can't be a 4. Okay, so that actually shook out pretty nicely. I want to look at these. Yeah, there's only one place for the 6 to go in this whole thing. It's got to go here, I think. I think you are missing 6, which means you are definitely 1. Okay, and now we have 4 numbers spread across 4 cells. The 2 definitely needs to go here. Okay, and yeah. Okay, now you need to be a 6 and you need to be a 3. We probably could have gotten that a little bit earlier. We made a lot of progress. So like, what definitely goes here? I want to break in. I want to break into these somehow. But we're 34 minutes in. I wish we could roll just a little bit faster. So this needs a 5 in it someplace. Or rather, this needs a 5 in it someplace, which means there needs to be a 5 and a 2. So I think maybe what we should just do is narrow everything down the way that we were doing before. All right, so what's missing in this cell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Except what's the problem with that? You, kitty, go away. You can't be a 1, which means you can't be a 6. Okay? You can't be a 1, which means you can't be a 6. You can't be a 6. Oh boy, what did I just do? I think the cat distracted me. Let's try this again. Where does the 6 need to go? 6 can't go here, here. Which means the 6 needs to go down here. All right, let's start this over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but the deal is that you can't be a 1. And if you can't be a 1, then you can't be a 6. If you can't be a 1, then you can't be a 6. That's true. You can't be a 2, which means you can't be a 5. You also can't be a 6, which means you can't be a 1. Now you can't be a 1, which means you can't be a 6. And you can't be a 2, which means you can't be a 5. All right. I want... The 6 definitely goes in this row. I should probably signify that to myself, because now we're inching towards this square where we knew nothing. The 6 definitely goes in this row. Okay. Fives are a bit more distributed. Oh. There needs to be a 5 in this row. The old 4 numbers, 4 square situation. This could be a 3 or a 5, this could be a 4 or a 5, this could be a 2 and a 3, this could be a 2 and a 4, but there definitely needs to be a 2 here. Okay, so one of you two needs to be a 2. That's maybe more obvious. One of you two needs to be a 2. I feel like I'm just missing. I feel like I feel like there's got to be like a box with two cells missing. I should remove the colors because maybe they're distracting me. There's 3s and 5s and things like that. Not allowed to have any 8s. What am I missing up here? So I can't have 1, 2, 3. How about 4s? Where would the 4s go? 4s would need to go here. One of you two must be a 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't be an 8. You could be a 7. There needs to be a 7 here someplace. How about you guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There needs to be a 6 in this row, and that 6 needs to go here. So this is just a little bit cleaner. I think that the other thing that's missing is 7, and then a 9. Okay, but the 9 can only go here or here, and then I guess any of these can be a 7. I don't really know what I should do about that. I'm tempted to fill them all in, but I think that's a bad idea. 1, 2, the 3... Getting close. I feel like we're getting close. All right, so 9s. One of you two has to be a 9. 8s. One of you two needs to be an 8. The 7 in this row must go in one of these 3, but it can't go there, so one of these two needs to be a 7. Okay, an 8 needs to go here someplace. But at this point, the puzzle is just so muddy. It's just so muddy. So muddy. I don't know how I'm supposed to see now that I've written all over it. I just don't know. So one thing that's interesting is that these are both 7s. Maybe I should have focused on this earlier. So like if this was a 3, this would need to be a 4. And then this could be a 3 and this could be a 4. So these could be locked together, these ones. Or something. I mean, I'm not totally sure. But if this, definitely making some progress. I just need to make a little more progress. All right, so the 1 definitely needs to go in this column, which means you definitely need to be a 1, which means you definitely need to be an 8. Okay, now that 8 is pushed down here. So what are we missing in this column? We're missing a 7. Can't go up here. It's got to go down here someplace. But there needs to be a 7. Does there need to be a 7? This could be... So now maybe we fill this in. So what are the other options for adding to 9? Okay, because we can't use 8 and 1 anymore. We could use 7 and 2, 6 and 3, 5 and 4. Okay, but neither of you two can be 6s. You can't be 6s, which means neither of you two can be 3s. Okay, neither... Dude. Bad kitty behavior. Bad kitty behavior. Bad kitty behavior. You just scratched me a bunch. All right, but neither of you two can be a 7 or a 2. Okay. If you can't be a 7 or a 2, then you can't be a 7 or a 2. And what that means is that you guys are definitely a 7 or a 2. Locked in. And now a 3 definitely goes down here someplace. And if a 3 definitely goes here, then a 6 definitely goes here. So a 6 must go in one of these two, which means you're not allowed to be a 6 anymore. So you can't be a 6, and if you can't be a 6, then you can't be a 1. So now my question is, where does the 1 need to go? The 1 needs to go here. And if you need to be a 1, then you need to be a 6. All right, this is 2, 4, 3. This is 2, 3, 4. This is 2, 3, 4. This is 3, 4, 5. This is 3, 4, 5. So a 2 definitely goes here. Okay, you're not allowed to be a 6. You're not allowed to be a 6, which means you need to be a 6. Which is maybe unlocking some things. Remember, so the last number that goes in here is definitely a 7. The last number that goes in here is definitely a 7. And these are all locked together, but there's 3 of them. That's a little bit less fun to notate. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 4, 3, 4, 5. This is enough to drive somebody crazy. Sudoku. Maybe that's what I should title the video instead of Incomplete Squares by GDC. I think I should cite the author, though. We'll see. All right. 2, 7, 8. I almost want to turn the camera. He's jumping up and grabbing the doorknob. He's so close. It's adorable. I just got a new cat. Life event for my second video. 3s. Maybe I could hunt around for some numbers. What do we have some numbers of? 6s. So there definitely needs to be a 9 here or here. Not super insightful. There definitely needs to be a 1 down here. Excuse me, there definitely needs to be a 1 here. You got to learn how to open it, buddy. Definitely needs to be a 1 down there. Okay, so there's a 1 missing, and it goes here, and then I think at this point these 3 are locked together. This needs to be a 1, a 6, and an 8. Absolutely, definitely. 1, 6, 1, 8, 1, 6, and 8. You also are supposed to be a 1. Something is missing from this column. It's a 4 and a, this can only be a 4 and a 5. But 4 and a 5 could also go down here. The deal is if this is a 4, then the 4 is pushed up here, then the 5 is pushed down here, and vice versa. There's got to be a 7 in this column someplace, and it's definitely got to go here. Excuse me. It's definitely got to go here. So 1, 2. Where's the 3 have to go? 3 can't go here. We're just so close. We're so close. We're so close. One, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. I'm missing something. I'm missing something. What if we looked at this line and some of the low numbers? Because there can't be a 1 on this. Obviously, there couldn't be a 1 in the middle anyway. That's potentially an interesting insight, but there can't be a 1 on this. Okay. This was me maybe being an idiot. So there's got to be a 3 here and here and here, right? Which means you're not allowed to be a 3. Neither of you two are allowed to be 3s. So if you're not allowed to be a 3, then you're not allowed to be a 4. If you're not allowed to be a 3, then you're not allowed to be a 4, right? So the 3 has to go here, and the 5 has to go here, and the 4 has to go here, and the 2 has to go here. So now these are both locked together. I'm using the colors, and yeah. All right, so now if you're a 3 and a 5, now you can't be a 5. You're not allowed to be a 5. You're not allowed to be a 5, which means you're not allowed to be a 4, and you're not allowed to be a 4. So now these ones are all locked together. All right, big movement. So there's no longer any 3s down here. There's no longer any 5s down here. Okay, so this is a 3 and a 5, and this is a 3 and a 5, by the way. But that's not like super, super helpful. We're close. We're really, 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 really close. So where does the 5 have to go in this area? Well, it actually can't go down here. So you need to be a 4. You need to be a 4, which means you need to be a 5. And if you need to be a 5, then you need to be a 2. If you need to be a 2, then you need to be a 4, and you need to be a 3. Great, that filled that out. We have a full square. Look at us. So much progress. And now I can figure out what the missing pieces are here. So what a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the missing piece. One of you must be a 5. And now you're locked together. And what's the missing piece here? 1, 2, 3 is the missing piece. And 3 can only go in one of these two. Okay, your guys are locked together too. I think in future videos I should avoid this this coloring thing. It might just be more trouble than it's worth. But that's okay. So there needs to be a 2 up here someplace. One of you needs to be a 2. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 3 and 5 are the other ones that are possible. What about you guys? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, one of you two needs to be a 4. But the 5s and the 3s. Okay. Okay, what else? Yeah, so this needs to be a 2 or a 5. This needs to be a 2 or a 7. These two orange combinations. That means down here there needs to be a 2. Except for the fact that the 2 is not allowed. Oh. I almost want to delete that because of a... No, one of you does need to be a 2. One of you needs to be a 2. What do you need to be? There needs to be a 1 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there could be a 7 or an 8. But the deal is that the 7 and an 8 makes it so that one of you need to be a 1 or a 2. And then you guys can be a 1, a 2, a 7, or an 8. What am I missing? What is the missing piece? 2. There's just not enough. I think what I have to do is somehow use this line. I'm really close on the lines. I'm really, really close on the lines. I think I have to use this line. I think that's what it shakes out to be. So what can't go on this line? So 1 and 2 can't go on this line, and neither can 9. So, and they need to be unique numbers. So the minimum that could go in the middle is 7, and 3 and 4. It can't be 4 and 4, so it does have to be 7. 7 has to go there, and if 7 goes there, then 7 goes here. Okay, so you can't be a 7 anymore. You need to be a 2. Okay. You need to be a 2, which means you need to be a 7, which means you need to be a 7. Yes, which means you need to be an 8, which means you need to be a 3, which means you need to be a 5, and you need to be a 2. So that shook out relatively simply. This needs to be a 4 and a 3. Can't be a 5 and a 2. Which means the 4 needs to go up here, and then this needs to be a 6. That needs to be a 6. You guys need to be 4s and 3s, and you're locked in. No, you're not. You have to be a 4, actually. You need to be a 4, and you need to be a 3, right? The 4 now needs to go up there. Tons of progress. All right, so what's missing in this row? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There needs to be an 8 in this row someplace. Oh, you know what? I can even cut it down. So you need to be a 9. You need to be a 9, and now you need to be a 4, and you need to be a 7. Okay, now you need to be a 2. You need to be a 4. 1, 2. This can only be a 3 or 5, but let's go down here first. This can be a 8. This can be a 7. This needs to be an 8. This needs to be a 9. All right, this can't be an 8 any longer. You can't be a 4 any longer. And I knew that this was never an 8. so I don't know why. I don't even know how that snuck in. 1, 2, and 8 go down here, and if 1, 2, and 8 go here, then 5, 6, and 9 go up here, which is something that we knew. Let's see, where are the 6s? Where are the 5s? Where are the 9s? Huh, all right, so we're gonna have some cyclic behavior up here. That's okay. All right, but we have this split line, which is something that we never really did. So you need to be a 3, and you need to be a 5. This is behavior that was known. And now we have an almost full row. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 needs to go there. Kitty, you gotta be. No, you're gonna cause a disaster, Kitty. Okay, again, split line, just didn't even think about it. 1, 2, you can't be a 2 anymore. You can't be a 2, you can't be a 1, you can't be a 1. Again, got some of this behavior. So where does the 2 have to go? Don't worry about the 2s. 3 and a 5, split line behavior. Kitty, you're ruining it. You're ruining it, Kitty. Kitty, you wrote a Z. You have to be a 3. You have to be a 5. Okay, and then if I just fill all of these in, I should see something relatively quickly, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's got to be a 5 in this row someplace. It's got to go here. Let's make you. You're that 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. 9 has to go here. 6 has to go here. All right, now 1 has to go here. Now 8 has to go here. Now 6 has to go here. All right, so you've become my 9. You've become my 2. No, you haven't. You haven't become anything yet. You have become my 2. You have become my 8. And you have become my 1. Let's end it at the top left. 5, 3. And I found the confetti so late in the game. 2, 1, 2, 3 is the missing number. Bam. 56 minutes. And what a joy it's been. All right. That was a lot of fun. Glad to be the 11,718th person to do this puzzle in the last 102 days. You should go try it out. And hope to record more videos in the future. Thank you.